So, um, I want to do this in a video. I'll do a little quick um, explanation in a way of just hold on. My dog's moving. He's dreaming and okay. Um, so I what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So for years ago, because we've been living here, it'll be 5 years in September. When I say here, this cabin that we're in is on my husband's parents' property, and it's just a one-room cabin with a wood stove or wood heater. Um, when I started getting sick, or when I started having a lot of the issues I was having, um, I just prayed for a way out of what we were in, because it was just getting harder and harder to be there, to be in that space, and not in the town. I loved the town I was living in. I like my hometown. I would go back there, and someday maybe I will. But right now, this is where God has put me. And this book kind of showed me that too. There was parts that I've talked about before where it says, this is where you're at because God put you there, and you've got to accept and embrace that. But it's really hard for me to accept and embrace this, because we were renting a place out there. And so first I started having extreme panic attacks, getting really sick, so dizzy, and so I couldn't even I was having issues at work because I couldn't remember things, messing up on reports. And I ran a department. No, I didn't manage people necessarily, because my husband worked, like he would have been under me, and also my mom and his other family members. So someone else dealt with the managing of it. I just kind of managed their delivery routes that they had for the newspaper. So I managed the circulation department. So a lot of it was just um, the collection of the monies from different our machines in our stores, and um, all the customers. So as they would pay and stuff, I had to make reports, right? So we put in all our stuff into the computer, and then it goes into these spreadsheets that we send into the main company. And I was doing fine for a while, and then I couldn't remember. I couldn't do it. I was messing up, and it was just so hard. And one day I will tell a story as well. And I'm putting these now so that if I rewatch this, or when I edit this, I can write this down if I edit it. I don't know, but I will watch it again. And to tell you about how I ended up in that position at work, and the decision that got me there, that was another decision I think I jumped into before I should have. But anyway, now during that time, not too long after that, is when my husband's back gave out. And I don't know if my camera is it does this weird thing where it looks like real mechanical. So I don't know if that's going to come out in the video. I'll try to fix it if it does. But his back gave out, so he was out of work, and he couldn't walk for about 6 months. He was barely, he had to crawl and pretty much lay down. So we had other people doing the route or helping me with it, like my parents, sometimes my dad, my mom would do some too, and they did the route, they do it together, or we'd have one of our friends do it, and it was really hard. So things got really, really tough at that time. Now, when it started getting to the point where we knew we needed to get out of there, and even during that whole entire time, I had prayed for God to provide a way for us to be able to get our health in order, to have a space where we could just focus on that in a way, but also be able to provide something for someone as well. And around that time, I got into watching YouTube. And I can't remember how it came up, but there was some van life videos and people who live in RVs and things. And I don't know why, but that's always seemed like such a interesting thing to me, something that I would like to do. Or, like there was a lot of stuff on tiny house living and stuff like that. So I was just like, can you just provide a way for us to get a tiny house? And in my mind, the tiny house was the mobile tiny houses, the ones that are on the trailers that are pulled by trucks, like your truck or whatever. Of course, at the time we didn't have a truck. We had a minivan, an old Dodge, I think an 80s minivan, and a little green Honda Accord that I had when I was in high school, 90, or right out of high school. It was like 96. So I was either, I don't know if I got it in 96 or 97. I'm not sure. I was out of high school, I think, so it had to be after 96. Anyway, but both of those broke down on us right around this whole time. So no car. My husband can't work because his back had given out. I'm not working because I can't even leave the house half the time. Like, I could go with my mom or my dad and like go, there was a few places I could go and feel okay, but it was very few. So now, during that time, like I said, I was praying for this tiny house idea. And I kept thinking, well, maybe even just like a van. We can, build it out somehow with just the stuff that we have and, store the rest of it or whatever. Because we have cats. At that time, we had one dog at that time as well, but he passed away a little bit after we moved here. And we had our cats, and we've lost a few since we moved here to some just because they were older. Our oldest one was 16. And then some of the ones we had, they were older, but I think one of them got sick. The other one, I think out here, I don't know, coyotes, and there's all kinds of things. But so, but we had our cats, and we needed it to be big enough to house them. Well, time passes. We have to get out of that area, that place, because there was just no way for us to make it at that time. So we were trying to find either somewhere to move, something smaller, something more affordable, which that place was not expensive. It was just that because of the situation, we needed something different, but most places didn't allow pets. And my husband did go back to work, but that place changed. A lot of things changed. So the amount of money he was making went down a lot because of the changes that they were making. So all that happened. Some more time passes. We end up here. Tiny house. It's a tiny cabin. One room, like I said, with the wood heater. And that's it. It's just a small space. It's like a big bedroom. And I think now that I've taken more time, that I've been being a little more open in therapy and dealing with some of that stuff, now that some of the things that are going on have been diagnosed in a way that I can understand what's happening, and books like these in the last year, the studies that I did with Proverbs 31 Ministries, which is now changed to Club 31, I believe, Book Club 31. It's a book club now. Oh my goodness, sorry, excuse me. Manjaro's giving me some issues this time. Last week it was kind of like that as well, but today it just seems worse. So I don't have the sulfur burps yet, but yeah, just so you know, this is not something I would be taking if I did not absolutely need it to help control my sugars and get me to where I need to be so that I can do this without medication. So we're in a tiny house, right? So today I did this, and this is what kind of reminded me of this story. I was painting, and this is my thing for today. And I saw a quote on Instagram, and I believe it was by Coffee with My Father. And it said, "I'm living in blessings that used to be prayer requests." And that kind of hit hard because I was complaining out loud sometimes in my journaling, sometimes just in prayer, sometimes just in my head, about this living situation, because it's hard. It's hard because we're adults, we're married, and we're living in this tiny little space on my husband's my husband's parents' property. And yes, we do help them. I mean, we do things that, like, help my mother-in-law with certain things. She just had surgery. She hasn't been able to drive for a few years now. So we do, those are the things that we do, and whatever help that they need. But it's still really hard. And I was complaining about it, and I was telling God, why did you put me here? Why did you bring us here? Why did you answer my husband's prayer with, you need to go and help your parents? Why? I was like, I didn't ask for this. I was this, like, that whole bratty little kid that doesn't want it and doesn't want to do it and wants to throw a little hissy fit. Well, that was it. So I guess it was in this book when it's been a while coming that I knew I needed to just embrace it, because I had, there's been some really, really good growth times here. I've loved being able to get closer to my in-laws and just building a really good relationship with them. And just really grateful for the fact that they let us live here and help them, and not, like, it's been a good experience in that way. Now I can't remember what chapter it was in this book, but I remember talking about, embracing where you're at. God put you here for a reason. And it says something about being allowed to grow slow there, like to, of course I'm not going to find it now because I should have thought about this before I did the video. Well, I'll find it eventually, and maybe what I'll do is I'll just insert it in here somewhere and let you guys know. But I only got through a few of those little pieces, a little bit about what I'm dealing with and how we got to where we are. So I will be back in the next one. I'm probably going to film another one now and just kind of go through these so I can have some time to edit them. And I hope that you have a blessed afternoon. And I'll see you in the next one. God bless you.